And the focus today is going to be on, if I can just describe this sort of band, we know the thoracic diaphragm. So that band around the thoracic diaphragm, allowing it to just be gently in the background of your awareness with each of the poses. So I might not refer to it often because I would like some periods of silence for us to self-explore. But this band might spread down and up. It might become wider in certain areas. So this is part of your exploration today. And I just want to read just briefly, the last three of the Niyamas, which basically go together like a little group. So the first one being tapas, which is self-discipline or effort, or that internal fire. The Yoga Sutras suggest that when tapas is in action, the heat that it generates will both burn away impurities and kindle the sparks of divinity within. Tapas is the willingness to do the work, developing discipline, enthusiasm, and a burning desire to learn. It's like cultivating an attitude of loving kindness, contentment, or non-judgment. Holding a posture is tapas. You are restraining yourself from moving. Gita often referred to it as rushing into the next pose, and giving yourself time to watch what happens. You build the capacity to tolerate being with the strong sensations, and you get an answer to the questions, what is my real limit? You're developing the skill of witnessing, which is one of the most important skills of classical yoga. The next one is Svadhyaya, which, as I say, comes in this little group of three. Happiness is our nature, and it is not wrong to desire it. What is wrong is seeking it outside when it's actually within. There are two parts to Svadhyaya. The first one, self-study, or that looking within. Developing the capacity to find the answers without chastising or lauding yourself in the process. It's self-observation without judgment. When you practice self-observation, you begin to uncover and address the unconscious patterns governing your life. When you can notice, but not judge, what you are doing and how you are feeling in every moment, you open a window to empathy for yourself and gain the stability you need to extend it to others. And then the second part of Svadhyaya is the study of the sacred texts. When you read the text, you will read something that really resonates for you, whatever that might be. And this study helps you to understand the universality of life's experiences and thereby increase your compassion for yourself and for others. And then the last part of that little triumvirate, the last one of the Niyamas, is Ishvara Pranidhana. This is the spiritual pinnacle of our practice. And in Yoga Sutras 245, it says that liberation, the highest happiness, comes from a love of communication with and surrender to God. And you don't have to believe in an anthropomorphic representation of God to accept that there is a divine design, a benevolent essence in the universe. It's letting our holy essence guide our actions and catch the sacred power of life. This higher power is there for each and every one of us. Ishvara Pranidhana is the cornerstone of our practice. We emphasize this devotion and service, making an artistic offering to the greater good and bringing more beauty and love into the world. And if we can do this, We won't need to think about the non-hurting of anyone, or not lying, or not stealing. If you dedicate your heart to love and serving, all other things will just fall into place. Bring your palms into Atmanjali Mudra. If the eyes have been softly open, let them quietly close. Bring your awareness within, exploring, checking in how the breath flows through the inner body. And making, as I said earlier on, almost the anchor of your practice, that space around the thoracic diaphragm. Sometimes spreading more horizontally, sometimes extending more down or up. So that gentle, soft band, that anchor around the thoracic diaphragm. As you breathe in, breathing into that space. As you breathe out, breathing out from that space. Come to settle, be still, be quiet, be humble. And in the sitting and following the breath, just for a few breaths, be it the inhale or the exhale, silently, internally chanting your arms. Maybe there are many on the inhale or the exhale, like an arm, arm, arm. Or just one long arm as you exhale. Aware of the vibrations and the inner resonance of this universal sound. When you've completed that third breath, just gently bow your head to your heart, making your own inner acknowledgements. Rest the back of your hands onto your inner knees. Raise your head, open your eyes. So maintaining that support that you're sitting on, if for example, like I've got a brick, please get yourself another brick. Or if you're on a foam, take a foam behind you, just so that the support behind you is the same as what you're sitting on. If you're on the floor, then the floor is perfectly adequate. And from there, just keeping that vertical lift. Take your left hand onto your right knee and take your right hand behind you onto that support. Spreading, opening across the collarbones, the shoulders. Ground both buttocks. Feel the center lift of the spine. And from there, just using the pulling, pushing action of your hands to twist and turn. And think of that middle band that we keep coming back to, and have a sense of letting go the striving to turn for today. Allow yourself to ease off. Let the practice come from a softer, quieter place within. Keeping the head and the neck in neutral. Ease the base of the skull up off the top of the spine and turn your head, look over your right shoulder to wherever is comfortable for you right now. It's your first pose, don't push it. And then from there, release, come back to center. Breathe in, lifting the spine, and on the exhalation, turn to the left. So putting that back hand onto your support, lifting the spine, centrally, left and right side ribs equally long. Cup your palm over your left knee. So don't turn the hand out for the moment. So we're accessing more the outer body, the anatomical structures at this stage, the muscles, the bony structures of the body. And then chin parallel to the floor, ease the base of the skull upwards. So there's a sense of allowing your cervical spine to come into its natural curve and then turn your head. Broaden across the collarbones and tuck your inner shoulder blades into the back to lift the sternum. And breathing out, use the hands to twist and go a little further. And then release and come back to center. Okay, now we need that sandbag, Handa. Your bag of oranges now, please, if you've got it. And put it over the very root of your left thigh. So the very top. And staying in your Svastikasana or your Virasana, lean over to the right. Putting your right hand onto the floor. Let the right elbow bend. And take your left arm up and over. So from the heaviness of this weight, and if you haven't got a weight, just imagine you've got one there. Ease up and out of the pelvic bowl. Coming to the awareness of this space now on these left side ribs. And as you extend, is there a tendency to breathe more into the lower front side ribs or the lower back side ribs? Can you even that out? Breathe into that space. This is the anchor at the moment. Just lengthening that left side and breathing into it. And as I said, in the tapas part of the reading, it's about the holding, the maintaining, because as we hold, things let go, other things creep in, and then the svadhyaya can come in, that self-study of going deeper, exploring. Can I hold this? Can I open more? Where am I gripping unnecessarily? Can I surrender to that greater divinity within? And from there, come up, take your weight and put it onto your right thigh. Left hand down, and then let that right thigh be heavier than the weight as you take your right arm up and over. Bend your left elbow. It's really not about finding that perfection that we so often strive for. Be in a sense of non-striving today. A sense of accepting all the inner wisdom that we have gained over time with our practice. Accepting where the little niggles are at the moment, maybe neck, lower back, abdomen, wherever it might be, and working with a sense of kindness around that. Easing, giving time, giving space to go further. As Gita says so often, especially in pranayama practice, we rush through this to go to the next one, and she says she doesn't know why. Or she said. And then from there, come up and just move your support. Come and sit, if possible, onto the floor. And take a brick, if you haven't got a brick, take a foam maybe on its vertical edge, grounding the buttocks. Now visualize you've got two of those sandbags and come forwards, keeping the length to the front body, and rest your forehead onto that high support. Not necessary to go low. Just think of space for that band to be able to expand. And now, especially as you go forward for today, spread the lower back ribs. Let those lower back ribs spread open and almost puff up and out some. So breathing into and from those lower back ribs. Release the lower jaw. Checking where there's unnecessary tension. Keep on the vertical support for the moment. Don't think going down. Think easing forwards. If you need to move your support, take it forward. And from there, come up. Change the cross of your legs to the other way. And now you're off your support. If you need to go back onto it, please feel free. Do what works for you today. Now turning to the right, take the back of your left hand. So now you're turning the whole of the inner upper arm out and wrapping that hand around the outer knee. Take your right arm behind you, spread across the collarbones. Use your breath to lift. So in a way, you're making that band in the thoracic diaphragm longer, lifting, spreading it, maybe down as well as up. And keeping that band equally long, left and right, in turn. Get in neutral, release the lower jaw. Don't look over your right shoulder. So use the breath to widen that band. Use the breath to turn that broad band. And release, come back to center. And turning the whole of the inner upper arm out, take your back of your right hand onto your left knee. Cup your left fingertips behind you and turn. Check what happens with the abdominal muscles. So often I find I'm gripping them because it's a natural instinct. We've been taught to hold the abdomen in. Can you soften that to go a little further? You release the tongue to the floor of the mouth. Checking all the little habits that you might have. And can you just have a sense of kindness towards them? Maybe letting them go for a change. And then release, come back to center. Take your sandbag now and putting it onto your left thigh. Right hand alongside you, ease up and over. Please use adjustments. I haven't asked any of you if there are any issues or problems because I'm trusting with your experience, your long, uninterrupted, ongoing practice, that you know what is best for you today. It's been cold, firstly, and second of all, a lot of us are carrying additional, whatever they might be, burdens, problems. And just let go for today, for this next hour and a bit. From there, come up and taking your sandbag onto your right thigh, ease over to the left. Heavy right buttocks. Open up into those right side ribs. Let the left side just be. It's about coming back to that band, that breathing into that space. Everything else will just fall into its own place. I'm so often surrendering to the pose. And then from there comes sitting up. And visualizing you've got two sandbags. If you have got two, put them there and come forwards. Now, if this prop is a little bit higher and you can go lower, please do, but not to the expense of shortening the front body. So let the front body ease forward. Let the back ribs settle into the support of the front body. And then from there, breathing through and to those lower back ribs. Like you have vast nostrils in the lower back ribs. filling that space. Letting the exhalation be a little longer, completely empty the nostrils, as if you're breathing out completely. And then have a little echo exhale and breathe out completely. You might find already there's a little pause at the end of the exhale before you have a lovely full inhale. Just explore the breath without striving, without pushing it. And then inhale, come up. And just stretch your legs away from you for a moment. Open the knees. Back at the knee long and broad as you ease the heels away. Then Dandasana for a moment. And then from there, come up and take your chair. Put your chair up against the wall. And come into a high Adho Mukha Svanasana. Take your feet as wide as your sticky mat. So outer heels on the outer edge of your sticky mat. Hands grip the edge of the chair and step back so that you're really standing deeply into the heels. The balls of the feet could somewhat even lift up. They're so light. And then front thighs back. And ease the whole of the trunk towards the buttocks and through the outer hips, the inner groins. So all those details that I want to stay away from for today, come back. Head in neutral, come back to that band around the thoracic diaphragm. And staying in this high Adho Mukha Svanasana, just breathe into that space. Feel where does it need to expand more? Where is it over-expanding? Can you make it an even circumferential opening? Maybe some of you might even have discovered a pause at the end of the inhalation, a pause at the end of the exhalation. Invite those pauses. And if you haven't discovered them yet, that's not even an issue. Just follow the breath. Let the mind take a back seat. So the holding of the pose allows more to open, so that we go into those deeper levels of exploration. From there, pressing into the hands, come up, step forward, still keep your feet as wide as your sticky mat, and keeping the legs at the vertical, rest your forearms onto the seat of the chair, Uttanasana. And once more, like you were folding forwards, yes, there's space in the front body, but can you come back to those nostrils in the lower back ribs and breathe into them? Let the inhalation be fuller, wider, deeper. Let the exhalation be more easing out of the body, like you surrendering the exhale, softening into that. You might even find that you breathe in and then you pause, and then there's space to breathe in some more, like an echo inhale. Do that. And breathing out. There's an echo exhale, and then another pause. Allow the breath to take you further. Sometimes short, superficial, sometimes almost intuitively longer, deeper. And from there, put your hands onto the seat of the chair, come up, keeping your chair. Come kneeling down for Pariyankasana. So take your, I'm going to go this way so that, in fact, I better do this way for you. Okay. Turn your chair to the side, bend your right leg. And from there, take your right elbow and put it inside your inner right knee. Rest your right forearm. I use the front edge of the chair just to create a little lever there on that arm of the chair. And from there, take your left arm up and over. Can you hold the backrest of the chair? Please, if it's not possible, do what you did in the sitting. Find the comfort. So extend into that left arm, open these left side ribs, and from there, take the left arm up and over. You okay, Gerda? If this is better, and extend
is your arm in front of your knee or behind? I can't
my
see.
arm in front of my knee. Okay, so I'm stabilizing that knee to move back to scoop the right buttocks in. Sorry, I'm going against Gita's rules of not teaching in black. In fact, not doing in black. Breathe through those left side ribs. As you stay, make this the focal point of the breath. So you might even find that for today, your right side ribs settle in a bit, but let the breath be the focus. Don't go for perfection of what we so often get caught into, the detail. And then inhale and come up and take your chair to the other side. Bending your left knee. All those details that we do know about, you know, the right side, the vertical. Take your left elbow inside your inner left knee. And as I say, I use my hand pressing onto that bar of the arm, just to stabilize this left hip, knee, and taking your right arm up and over. Reaching into the fingertips. As I say, if it's comfortable for you to hold the backrest of the chair, do so. For me, I find I get a better extension if I extend into this top right arm to open, because it's about the breath, more so than the perfection of the structure of the pose today. Give yourself some slack, some easing off, mentally, physically, and just enjoy the breath. If there's capacity to bring those left back ribs forward, do so. If there's capacity to turn the sternum a little further to the ceiling, do so. And then inhale, come up. Just kneel for a moment, allowing everything to gather back together, to come back to center. And then from there, we're going to sit down using the chair. We're going to go into Upavistha. I'm going to demonstrate sideways. If you need something to sit on for Upavistha Konasana, please take it, but be right at the front edge of your support. What I find really nice sometimes is I sit on a support, I extend through the back of my legs, and then what I do is I slide myself down so the buttocks really ground firmly into the floor. Have your chair. Extend through the legs. Taking your chair, come forwards for Urdhva Upavistha Konasana. So now think of this band that's becoming not only longer up and down, but also wider horizontally and circumferentially starting to open. Because now, as we're warming up the body, that whole area has capacity to soften and open. And breathe into that space. Breathe out from that space. The sense of lifting front, back, sides, equally upwards. It's like we're creating tremendous space for all the breathing muscles. The biggest one of all, as you know, is that thoracic diaphragm. And then from there, take your chair, put it over your right thigh, take your sandbag and put it over, if I move my chair, I'm just going to demonstrate on this leg. Put your sandbag over the root of your left upper thigh. So that back leg, I'm putting my sandbag there to make it heavy, chair over the right thigh, and now from there, coming to Urdhva Mukha Parivrtta, Upavistha Konasana. Check that the left buttocks grounded, that the thigh muscles, the quadriceps, drape over the thigh bone, allowing the back of the leg to ease, extend away from you. Use the pulling down, that biomechanical action of drawing the hands down to create space, to lift this vast barrel of a trunk up, and then in that space, turn. Breathe. And from there, release. Take your chair, put it over your left leg. Take your sandbag over the pit of your right thigh. So it's like you've got a sandbag all the way along these quadricep muscles, making them heavy, drape down, away from the sandbag, hands to the arms of the chair, the seat of the chair, whatever works for you. Ground the buttocks. Lift the whole of that band. Broaden it, spread it, open it circumferentially as you breathe out and turn. Keep coming back to that anchor of the breath in that middle band. And then from there, come back to center. Take your chair in front of you, and from there, extend your right leg through the chair for Parivrtta, Janu. So once you've extended this leg and you've placed your buttocks, your right buttocks, move your outer right heel in line with your outer right hip, because we so often adjust this front leg and then the back leg just tends to close up for us. So move that right leg a little more to the right. Take your chair, you've put it over your right leg. Now take your weight and put it over the root of that left thigh. Come facing forwards. So you want to already take your hand, right hand in front of your left foot, left hand behind you. Lift up and turn. Feel like you're going to turn as you breathe out to rest your spine towards your chair. And then from there, lean over Take your right hand through, hold your right big toe. If you can't, there's the chair. But more importantly, can you rest your right ear on the seat of the chair? Just check. And if it's too low, come up, take phones, take blankets, take whatever you need so that your right ear, cheek, the right side of your head is passive. If it's cold, put a blanket there. And then once more, come sitting up. You've set up the support. Turn towards the wall away from you. And then from there, it's as if you lay your spine along your thigh. Rest your right ear. Don't look up at the ceiling. You're looking forwards. Take your left arm up and over and root this left thigh down, left buttocks. Ease the left inner knee away from you. Left arm up and over. And now allow yourself to settle. From the heaviness of your left buttocks, the easing of your left knee away and down. That sandbag inviting the attention there. Open your left side ribs. Open your left side waist. Ease your right side ribs towards your right big toe, but relax your right shoulder. So even in the breathing in the left lower side ribs and the whole of this left side of the rib cage, feel how as you breathe out, there's capacity to soften, as if you're softening the ribs and the space in between the ribs towards the right side ribs. There's a softening, a letting go. So there's a softness in the opening in the in-breath, and there's a softening in the breathing out, in the out-breath. Can you ease your left back ribs into the body and turn your right side ribs back without lifting your head? Head in neutral. Right ear, right cheek onto the chair. Feel in the holding how things start to change. Fascia even starts to release. Close your eyes if that is what the pose requires. And then extend your left arm away from you. Come up. Sit for a moment. Just be aware of what's taking place internally. No need to rush. And go to the other side. So bending up your right knee, take your left leg away, and as I said, wherever you find your left buttocks, for example, my left buttocks is right on the back edge of my mat, I need to take my left heel to that back edge of the mat. So we need to open across this left hip as well. Sandbag onto your right thigh. Parivrtta, Janu, Sirsasana. You've got your chair. Hopefully the height is correct. Turn towards your right knee. Lift the spine, create space. And in that long spine, fold back. Taking your left hand to the big toe. As I said, if holding the big toe is not possible, you've got the seat of the chair, the bar of the chair, use what works for you. But what is most important here is that the head rests. The left ear, left cheek, completely passive. And then from there, stretch your right arm up. Rotate that arm in the armpit. So this is like Upavistha Konasana. Take that arm up and over. You can even start to walk that right hand back some to get more of an opening. But as I said, for today, it's about giving yourself permission to ease back some, to drop some of that striving that we're always almost encouraged to do in life. Have a sense of non-striving in the poses today. A sense of surrendering to that innate knowing and wisdom that you have accumulated over the years. And breathe. Let the left side ribs, those lower side ribs, ease forward to the armpit as you relax your left shoulder, and then take your breath to these right side ribs. Feel as if you surrender the bony structure of the rib cage. And it's as if you breathe through those spaces, and even the bones of the ribs are softer, allowing them to open, spread. Feel the changes that start taking place in the holding, in the practice, that tapas of the doing. And in the breath, in the pauses, the being. Bring the right side, back ribs forward, the left side ribs back. If you find that there's room to go further. Feel how the sandbag allows that right thigh, knee to settle away and down. Allowing the inner layers of the organic body to open. Head absolutely passive, sattvic. And then bring your right arm up and just come sitting. Checking in how the changes are starting to take place because of the holdings. So, stretching both legs away from you, we're now going to do Parivrtta Upavistha Konasana. So, take the right, chair over your right leg. Take the legs comfortably wide. You know, Upavistha is about 120 degrees. It's not as wide as you can go. That's moving towards Konasana. So about 120 degrees. Take your sandbag, put it over your left thigh. And just like we did earlier on, like we were turning to Parivrtta Upavistha, you had the chair here, but now put your right hand in front, put your left hand behind you, lift the spine and turn. Turn the whole of this middle band. And from there, leaning back, take your right hand through, hold the big toe. Once more, head passive, completely rest the right ear, right cheek. Roll that altar left hip back and down. And from the heaviness of that sandbag, take your left arm up and over. And breathe. If for today it works better for your right hand to be holding the seat of the chair to get more movement into those left side ribs, do what works for you. As you allow the trunk to rotate from left to right, from right to left, don't turn the head. Keep the head absolutely stationary. Quiet. And as I said earlier, if there's a sense of closing the eyes, do so. Deepen the inhalation, almost intuitively. It's as if a deeper inhale wants to take place, and then a longer exhale can follow. Maybe those echoes of inhale, exhale, as you rest into the pauses. It's your practice. Really soak it in, enjoy it. And then extending your left arm up and over, come sitting up. Hopefully those of us that have maybe got some niggles, aches and pains, that these poses are taking shape in a supported way, that actually it's relieving those aches and allowing them to open and soften. And the breath sometimes even goes into those spaces and eases off in that inflammatory space sometimes. So support onto your right thigh, left hand in front of you, right hand behind you. Turn firmly from left to right, turning the whole of this barrel, keeping it broad, long, and circumferentially open. Slide your left hand through, holding the big toe or holding the chair. Ease your left side ribs more to the armpit as you relax your left shoulder. Now take your right arm up and over, holding the backrest of the chair. Left ear, left cheek, completely surrendered. So as I said, yes, we can go lower, but we're not striving today. It's giving ourselves permission, that loving kindness, self-compassion, to just ease off for a change. So if you find that in non-striving, you can walk your right hand to the arm of the chair, taking it back, in other words, do so. Ground, especially your outer right thigh. That sandbag gives space for that heaviness to gravity to come, so that you can ease up and out of the pelvic bone. And then breathe. Stay, explore, self-study, surrender to that innate wisdom within. Breathing in, extend your right arm away from you, open your eyes if they have been closed, and come sitting up. Just be there for a moment. And remove your sandbag and just gather your legs towards you for a moment and just be in a quiet, open Baddha Konasana. Just allow yourself to settle, hands alongside you. And just breathe. Let yourself come back to a state of centeredness, symmetry. Check how this band around the thoracic diaphragm feels. Is there a sense of openness there? A sense of ease in the breathing process? And then from there, we're going to just stretch your legs away from you. Pariyankasana, how I've been doing it, and I'm sure you've all got foams, blankets, bolsters, whatever. What I've been doing for the Pariyankasana is taking 4 foams, putting them on top of each other, and then starting off with a vertical brick, gradually turning the brick down to this narrow edge. So let's start off like that. Please, if Pariyankasana, in other words, Virasana legs is not comfortable and not good for you today, please just sit in Swastikasana and remember to change halfway. I'm going to time us for about 5 minutes in this Pariyankasana, in fact, even 6, to be able to really open the front body. If you feel that there's a sense of comfort, you can take that sandbag and put it sort of mid-thigh, a little bit closer to the groin area. So take the support you need. Please, if this is too low and you need to sit on a support, in other words, you need to sit on a foam or whatever, please make the support behind your back just that little bit higher. Ground the buttocks. And from there, lift the back ribs. Put your hands onto the floor alongside your foams and lift the back ribs up and over. So the whole of the shoulder blade is supported, but the shoulders themselves cascade over the top of your support. So it might be 1-2 centimeters where the shoulders are over that support. And rest your head for the moment on the vertical brick. Take your arms alongside, in line with the shoulders, and stretch your arms away from you. Feel like you're creating space in the shoulder joint, the elbow joint, the wrist, all the little bones and the joints in the fingers, the palms. Really reach into the fingertips. So feel that stretch start to come right from the sternal notch. It's like you're spreading the collarbones, like you're spreading the shoulder blades, like you're spreading the thoracic spine and the sternum bone. Close your eyes and then release your arms. Let them relax at that broad angle of 90 degrees. Now bring your awareness to the shoulders. Let them drape over that support, allowing the collarbones to drape over that support, and ease the back of the neck up towards your base of your skull. Ease the base of the skull up off the top of the spine, so you feel as if the chin is ever so slightly tucked in. And then let go that sense of striving. Be there. Relaxing the arms, letting go the limbs of the legs, settling the buttock bones deeply down. Release the lower jaw. Come back to the breathing. And feel now in the breath how as you inhale, it's as if you can allow those back ribs, the shoulder blades, the lower back ribs to broaden and spread across that support of the foams or whatever you've established for your back body. Especially at the fullness of the inhalation, can you allow the back body to spread? And as you get to the end of the inhalation, sink the abdomen back. Let it just surrender. Now, as you breathe out, let the spaces between your side ribs soften. Can you re-surrender the abdomen back? Broad, deep inhalations, no matter when they come, just be aware of when they do. And then a longer, smoother, surrendering exhalation. Sorry, that's my phone, just ignore it. Now, as you inhale, take your arms up and over your head and extend the side ribs, lower side ribs to the armpits. Relax your shoulders and fold your arms up and over your head. And as you are there, check in, is there capacity to turn that breath down? If not, please stay with the breath vertical, but the back of the neck should remain long. Surrender the upper throat, passive upper throat, as if the upper throat releases from the front to the back and the base of the skull. So the back of the neck is long and the front throat softens to the back throat. There's no need to pump it up. If there's a sense of pumping up, there's a sense of hardness and striving. So keep the breath at the vertical. Now allow as the elbows ease up and over the armpits to open. And now feel the sense of the length in that shape of your trunk, especially right from the lower ribs to the collarbones. And as you breathe in, lengthen right from that thoracic diaphragm upwards. As you get to the end of the inhale, soften the abdomen, surrender it back. And as you exhale, keep the abdomen softening, deepening, surrendering back. And now, as you deepen your awareness on the breath, can you breathe into that gentle internal sound of Yam? In that lower rib cage band around the heart center. Long, slow inhalation. Yam, 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 yam. Long, slow exhalation. Yam, yam. Extend your arms away from you and change the fold of the arms the other way. I hope those of you, if you have been in Svastikasana, have changed the cross of your legs at some stage. Back of the neck long and soft. Front upper throat, surrendering to the back upper throat. Breathing in, and as you have that deeper breath, chanting that internal mantra of Yam. Maybe it's just one on the exhalation. Just be aware of how that sound of Yam resonates in the thoracic diaphragm. Be aware of how in this extension, the space that's created between the thoracic diaphragm and the abdominal cavity. It's as if as you get to the end of the fullness of the inhale and you pause there, it's as if the abdomen, the upper abdomen, combs itself down towards the legs and back towards the spine. As you breathe out, it's almost as if that gentle yam sound is like an echo in that Surya chakra area of the solar plexus. Complete the breath you're on. Extend the arms away from you, and then bring the arms down in that horizontal expansive space once more. And just rest there. From there, bring your hands onto the floor. Remember, passive head, you've all done this enough. Lift from that dorsal thoracic to come sitting up. Part your knees. If you've had the sandbag there, remove the sandbag. And everybody just come up onto all fours. Just kneel. Knees directly below the hips. And now inhale and look up. Feel as if you're going to take the crown of your head towards your tailbone and you're going to point your tail to the crown of your head. As you breathe out, round those lower back ribs, drawing the navel to the spine without a strong sucking. Just lift it. Inhale, arching up. Deep inhale, pause, hold the breath if you can. Long, slow, even exhale. Draw and spread those back ribs up to the ceiling. Pump open that kidney area as you soften the navel back. Pause. 2 more. Inhale. Hold the breath out for a moment. You all have the capacity. And then breathe out. Navel broadly back to the spine. Last one. Deep inhale. And long, smooth exhale. And then just briefly, stepping around your props, take your feet wide and a nice stretching to Adho Mukha Svanasana. Heels down, front of the heel bones heavy. Hips light. Feel that space in the lower ribs. How far does it ease upwards towards the upper chest? How far have you created space between that thoracic diaphragm and the outer hips, the inner groins? Completely passive head. Let it hang. And from there, release, come down. And we're going to go into Supta Baddha Konasana. I have been taking this because I find my bolster a little bit wide for the length of my spine. So please, if the bolster works for you to go up and over, please do so. But what I've been doing is taking a bolster, 2 foams, and then making sort of a wide-ish roll to go up and over. So I've got to set up like that. So that's somewhat softer. Then take another blanket and roll that up. And it might not be completely rolled, but we're going to use that roll. If I can just demonstrate facing the back, that you're going to take the roll onto the shoulders. But if this is the base of my skull, it's not going to stop the base of the skull. So it's going to go below the base of the skull. So in other words, what I'm doing is I'm taking this base of the skull away from the shoulders and getting that arch of the cervical spine to be supported by the blanket. Take your belt and Supta Baddha Konasana. Once more, we're going to be holding for about 6-7 minutes. So if you need props on the outer thighs, please take. Please remember that the belt goes around almost the base of the sacrum, around more the coccyx area. Don't have your buckle onto any skin. And for today, don't tug your feet in. Remember that sense of easing, that sense of non-striving, and then that support of the bolster comes more around that band that we've been focusing on. So it's almost as if you want this area of the thoracic diaphragm to be the apex of the pose. Then lying back, take that roll behind the back of the neck. So your blanket is not on, your head is not at all on your blanket. Your back of your neck is long and completely supported by that roll. So you get a sense of the front open throat to be able to soften to the back. And then taking your arms out to the side, resting. Come and lie back into the support, giving yourself time to check. Are you lying centrally? Are your feet resting equally into each other? Are the buttocks equally resting down? Can you soften, let go the groins, the abdomen, the shoulders, the palms? Can you soften the eyes back? Release the lower jaw. And as you relax the tongue, completely relax the very root of the tongue as if it rests back into that blanket. Passive upper throat. Passive inner walls of the throat. So that the breath can flow smooth, gentle through that vast inner space of the open throat into that band that you have focused on. And as you inhale, allow the lower back ribs to spread across that bolster you've created. Let the lower back side ribs ease wider than the bolster is long. And as you get to the end of the inhalation, pause. Feel that upper abdominal area, as I said, around the Surya chakra, as if that drops, sinks back as if a deep valley. And the more you breathe in and pause, then it's as if those cliffs of the lower front ribs become higher. You might even find that it's almost natural that you go into a sense of quiet Viloma breathing, where you breathe in and you pause. You breathe in, allowing that valley to become deeper as the cliff faces become higher, and pause. And then you can breathe into the complete spread of the side ribs. Really drop that Surya chakra there. And then just have a long, slow, soft, surrendering exhalation. Pause. And then maybe there's capacity to breathe out that little echo exhale. And then just let go. But if this is not here for you, remember that non-judging, that sense of just allowing things to be as they are right now. You might find that the breath is still soft and smooth. So now as you keep your awareness on the breath, allow the sound of the inhalation to be like ah. So you have a deep ah, and if you're doing Viloma breathing, there'll be a pause, then another ah as you breathe in. Pause at the end of the inhalation. And then as you breathe out, once more from that whole band that you've been focusing on, long, slow, internal yaw. Aware, is there any inner vibration with these silent sounds that you're chanting? These bija mantras. So if it's one ujjayi inhale, it'll be one long ah as you inhale. Like you widening, opening the mouth, if you were to say it. So you're widening and opening that space in the lower ribs. Aware of just how high you've opened the ribs, how low you've allowed that valley to drop to the hips. And then that long internal chant of Yam. So breathe out. Pause in the stillness, in the absolute silence.
Complete whatever breath you're on and have one more of those focused breaths that you've been doing. Let the breath settle to normal. Take your hands to your outer thighs, and because your Baddha Konasana has been that loose, just slip your feet out of the belt and bring your legs up. Rest there. Roll over onto your right and slide off your support with outerline the head to lift. Just be there. When you are ready, press down with your left hand, come sitting up. And take one of your blankets, making your blanket narrow. Make it so narrow that it really is spine supporting. So if I hold up my blanket, you can see it's really quite narrow. And we're going to be doing Savasana on that blanket with a foam underneath the blanket lengthwise to support your head and your neck. Please be warm. I hope you have been warm in your practice. If you would like to cover your eyes, please do so. Take your sandbag, and you have a choice today of either allowing, so have the whole of your spine supported by this blanket. So the coccyx will be off. Start with your legs bent. Ease the upper buttocks away and down. And then lie your spine. Your foam will come right to tip the top of your shoulders. And then extend the legs away from you. And take your sandbag. You have a choice, either putting around the very root of the thighs, or if you would like it around the lower abdomen, between the navel and the pubis. So one is on that lower abdominal cavity, or as I say, around the root of the thighs. Whatever you feel works best for you. Tuck your shoulders, your shoulder blades underneath you, and feel as if the shoulder blades resting equally either side of that support. So your shoulder blades broaden. In fact, hug yourself. Take your hands around your upper chest. Grip your inner shoulder blades and spread them away from that support. Your shoulder blades should be off that support. And then from there, just take the arms out to the side, maybe 60, 70 degrees away from you. Relax your palms, your arms. Relax the soles of your feet, your legs. Ease the back of the neck up off the top of the spine and soften the base of the skull upwards. Feel how easily the senses just quieten, withdraw. And allow those senses with the mind to flow down to the space where you have that support. Even if it's an imaginary one, if you haven't had a sandbag, you might have put it on the lower abdomen, you might have put it on your upper thighs, wherever you have one or imagined you've had one. Take your senses and your mind, your sixth sense, to flow down to that space behind the weight. And breathing out, soften away from the front body to the back body. As if you're surrendering that part of the body away from the heaviness of the sandbag. Allowing the senses, that space, to surrender into the earth. And pause at the end of the exhalation. Feel the support that the earth loans you. Have as many of those releasing exhalations as you feel you need. And you might get to a space where even that is too much. But the sense of inner quiet, the sense of just being, doesn't even require deep breathing. Let go completely. And keeping your eyes closed, gradually, gently allow the breath to rise upwards and spread outwards. Feel that breath and the life force that rides on the breath spreads through the whole of the body. Does it serve a sense of tingling, prickling, whatever you might feel? As you gently allow that breath to expand to the tip of the fingers, the soles of the feet, the crown of the head. Bring yourself back into the space, into your room. Remove your sandbag, if you have one. One by one, bend up your legs and extend your right arm over your head, and without lifting your head, let your head slide onto your right upper arm. And be there. Keeping the head quiet, press down with your left hand. Curl your spine to come sitting. Cross your legs in Sirsasana. Palms in Upavistha Mudra. Bow your head to your heart, that inner guru, giving thanks and gratitude as you close and seal your practice for this man. Namaste. Have a lovely day.